Hi beautiful souls, it's Tan back here with you today doing a short tutorial on how to find your soulmate in astrology. So before we get started on this video, there are a couple of things that you're going to need in order to be prepared for this. So you're going to need to have your natal chart in front of you, and you're going to kind of need like maybe a notebook and some pens, or you can just like maybe use your phone, but somewhere where you can kind of make notes and write on. So before we get started, when I talk about soulmate in this video, I'm talking not about that one person that you are supposed to be with in this life, because there isn't one person that we're supposed to be with. I am talking about a person who comes into your life to bring some very important lessons. Somebody that you can really learn from. Somebody that brings in and shows you something about yourself that you did not realize you had within you, and they help you to bring that out. So yes, this could be a romantic partner, a love partner potential, or it could be a friend or a relative. If we are talking about this in terms of a love potential, this is one step. When you look at your own natal chart, which is what we're doing today, this is the first step to identifying the kind of person that is going to be able to teach you and help you to grow. This is what we're looking for in the natal chart today. But if you want to really see compatibility or true attraction with somebody, we're going to have to look at something called a synastry chart, where you have two people's charts and then you put them on top, like an overlay on top of each other, and then see their chemistry and how they interact, which is probably going to be the next series that I'm doing. It's going to be the synastry series. But still, even after that, we still have something which is called a composite chart, which is when you actually put two people's charts and you mesh them together to produce a new natal chart for the relationship. So this shows us how you both are going to be like in a partnership, whether that's romantic, friendship, or anything. But composites are usually kind of more for romantic, because you really become one, or someone that you're working with, it could be. But yeah, so that's when we can really see, you know, the goals of your relationship and how you can make that work or not. But still, synastry, composite, your natal chart, that is not the end-all be-all of relationships. There's still one really important factor, and that is the kind of visions that you have for your life, all right? And the kind of values that you have. If you look at your natal chart and you see that somebody is a potential soulmate, they have good qualities that you can really learn from. You look at the synastry, you have the attraction, the chemistry, you get along. You look at the composite, you have the same goals in this relationship and you're going in the right direction together. But if your values and your vision for life is still fundamentally, like ultimately different, it's gonna really be kind of hard, because you don't want to have to change your values to be with somebody. And there's also things that we need to take into consideration, like the timing, you know, which is a little bit more complicated, because then we have to look at the outer planets and the cycles that they're having on your life. If you're evolving in a different level from your partner, then it can be kind of difficult. Okay then, without further ado, let's start the tutorial on how to find your soulmate. So this is going to be a little different for men and women, and this is something that I've kind of put together, okay, based on several astrological theories and concepts, and I think that this really works. It's a fun way to do it, and it's kind of pretty useful as well. So we're going to be looking at 4 different factors in your natal chart. So for the woman, first thing you're going to be looking at is your Jupiter. All right, but for the men, the first thing you're going to be looking at is your moon. Now there's a theory on why you're looking at these things. So let me tell a little bit about that. Women are looking for Jupiter. They call Jupiter the woman's husband, because women are looking for somebody to come into their lives to be that support and be that encouragement like Jupiter, but also to be somebody to expand their life, to bring in abundance into their life and to kind of be almost like a personal guru, someone they can turn to for, you know, really wise advice. That's what a woman is ultimately looking for. And for the man, men are looking to their moon, because a man is not necessarily looking for someone to be a wise, you know, advice giver for them. They're looking for comfort in a relationship, and that is represented by the moon. They're looking for kind of like a second mother figure, so to speak, someone that can nurture them. A woman is not looking for someone to nurture her necessarily, but the man definitely is. So that's the first thing we're looking at, all right? The second thing is the same for men and women, and that is your 7th house ruler. The 7th house, so I've recently made a 7th house video. I really recommend that you check that out. So links up above in the description box below. The sign on the 7th house shows characteristics and traits about yourself that you've repressed into your unconscious because it wasn't allowed to be shown in the society that you grew up in. But it is very much a part of who you are. And when you meet somebody who has traits of your 7th house, they help to bring those unconscious side out of you, and you become more whole. However, you could, of course, break off the relationship with someone who has traits of your 7th house once you've learned the lessons from them. And that's why this is also, I feel, is a soulmate indicator, because soulmates aren't really meant to be there with us for the rest of our lives. You know, it's like we have a soul purpose to grow together, and then they might just be gone. Now, the third thing you're looking for men and women is the North Node. Now, the North Node is a point in your chart that it looks like a horseshoe upside down, like that, all right? The North Node is really gonna show you where you're headed in this life. Ultimately, you want to be able to balance the North Node with the South Node, all right? Nobody wants to be completely in their North Node or just completely in their South Node. But if you can embrace the sign and qualities of your North Node, you will be able to grow soulfully in this life. And the last thing that we're going to be looking at, it's the same for men and women, is the asteroid Psyche, which is asteroid number 16. If you're not sure how to turn on this asteroid, I'm going to leave an instruction in the description box below. I've also recently talked about Psyche in my 8th house video. So I would recommend that you check out the story of Psyche up there. All right, and I'll try to leave a timestamp in the description box below along with the link to that video, so you can know exactly which minute into the video, you know, the story of Miss Psyche comes on. So the reason we're looking at Psyche, although Psyche is not like a significant part of your life, it's not a major theme, okay? Psyche really does indicate that kind of soul love. And just to briefly summarize, you know, Psyche, she is the kind of love that really allows you to grow and transform. The kind of love that you yourself are willing to be completely transformed in order to pursue that love. So these 4 things in your natal chart, these 4 points in your natal chart, have to be looked at equally, although Psyche is kind of a lesser important part, but the first 3 definitely, they're all very equal and very important. And then there's Psyche, which I've added to the list. So, okay, so what we're gonna do next, we're gonna do this together, all right? So if you have that pen and paper in front of you, it's time to get it out, and I will use my own natal chart as an example. First thing you wanna do is you wanna, women, Jupiter, men, moon. I want you to list out the sign of your Jupiter and the sign of your moon and the house that it is placed in, okay? So, for example, I have my Jupiter in Gemini in the 12th house. And men, you will list the sign of your moon and the house placement. Okay? And then next you're going to look at your 7th house ruler. So my 7th house is in Sagittarius, so I'm going to list that out. All right? And then next you're going to look at your North Node, sign and house. So my North Node, oh, and I forgot to mention that if you have any planets, I'm so sorry guys, if you have any planets in the 7th house, I want you to also list the signs of those planets as well, because sometimes it's not in the same sign as the 7th house ruler, but it's still important because that is also a sign in your 7th house, and also the planets if you can. So okay, so in my 7th house, right, I've got, you know, Uranus, Saturn, Neptune in Capricorn, so I would list Capricorn as well. Okay, and then I would look at the North Node, right? So I've got my North Node in Pisces in the 9th house, okay? And last is Psyche. So my Psyche is in Aquarius in the 8th house, okay? So we should have a short list like that, all right? This next part, we're gonna have a look at the patterns that are appearing within what we've listed. So we're going to connect the signs with the corresponding houses, with the corresponding planets, okay? So if you're not really sure which sign corresponds with which house and planets, I have a description of this in the description box below, so you can refer back to that and then add this to your list. So, okay, so for example, when I've listed my Jupiter in Gemini, I would add 3rd house, because 3rd house is connected to Gemini, and then I would add Mercury, okay? And then with with Jupiter being in the 12th house, I would then add Pisces, because Pisces is connected to the 12th house, and then I would add Neptune / Jupiter, because these two are both connected to Pisces and the 12th house. I hope you're kind of following along, guys. So that means that, okay, so I'll just do one more with you before I list the whole thing out. Okay, so Jupiter, so Sagittarius rules my 7th house, which means I'm going to also list Jupiter and the 9th house, okay? Sagittarius rules the 9th house. And for the North Node, you would do the same thing for the sign and the house. And for Psyche, you would do the same thing for the sign and the house. All right, so now you have a very complete list of your soulmate. Okay, so what we're gonna do next, in astrology, like I said, we're always looking for patterns, all right? So we're not gonna try to pick apart each of these things and try to say, oh, like your soulmate is gonna be an Aquarius, Sagittarius, Taurus, Virgo. That doesn't really tell us anything, right? So we're gonna kind of think about this like, these are the ingredients, the fruits of your smoothie, all right? And you kind of now need to put them together in a blender, and we're gonna blend them out, and we're gonna make a soulmate smoothie. So you're going to have to use your intuition a little bit when you're doing this. You're gonna have to kind of maybe sit back a little bit and look at this list, and then of course look at the description box below if you're not familiar with the traits that are associated with each of these archetypes. But if you're familiar with traits that are associated with each of these archetypes, you kind of just sit there, all right, and have a look at, really try to see what these archetypes have in common. So if you're familiar with, the archetypes in astrology, then you can probably just have a look at the list and then go ahead and try to see what pops up. But if you're not familiar, then of course in the description box below, I have a list of traits and characteristics, and you can kind of see how they overlap. But I do believe that using in your intuition is always better. So I'll kind of do this with you just to show you an example, all right? So if you look, okay, so if you pretend that this is your, your list, you would first see that, okay, Gemini, Sagittarius, Pisces. So Gemini is the sign of learning, being ready to learn something new, always. Sagittarius and Pisces is the sign of big thinkers, visionaries, and believing in something of the higher power, something that we can't really see in this dimension. So when you put the three of these together, I'm thinking of the terms esoteric or spiritual thinker. So you're going to kind of add that to the list. All right. So if you look at, let's see, okay, so Gemini likes to move around a lot and is a sign of movement. Short distance travels. Jupiter is long distance travels and pilgrimages, and Pisces is that kind of foreign places, you know, being a hermit in the mountains. So putting these three together, I'm going to give it another word, traveler. Okay. Now, Gemini is open to learning anything new, likes variety. Sagittarius is very expanded and is very open-minded. Pisces is compassionate and accepts everyone for who they really are. So another word that I would give would be open-mindedness or acceptance. Okay, you can kind of see where I'm going with this. Okay, we're not like trying to pick out, oh, like your soulmate is going to be a Scorpio, Taurus, Virgo person. No, we're like looking for patterns and themes. All right, so what I'm seeing now also, besides from Gemini, these other signs are all ruled by outer planets. So it's ruled by Jupiter, right? Neptune, Saturn, Uranus, and Pluto. Outer planets are actually quite impersonal and they bring a lot of karma, and they always ask you to be more spiritually evolved. So I'm going to add another word, which is awakened or spiritually evolved. Now, with Capricorn and Scorpio and even Sagittarius and Aquarius, these Capricorn is highly, you know, career orientated and wants to be at the top of their game in the career world. Aquarius will fight for humanity. Scorpio is so strong-willed and single-minded. Sagittarius is very goal-orientated. So I'm going to add the word ambitious and maybe persistent to the list. You kind of see what we're doing here. It's all about, you know, patterns in astrology. So whatever you've come up with as the kind of keywords, okay, in your soulmate list there, those would be kind of the traits and the qualities of people who can come into your life and really teach you something. Also, feel free to leave in the comments below what kind of keywords you came up with at the end of your soulmate smoothie. Let us know what traits and characteristics of people have really helped you to evolve and grow. So there's one more thing that we're going to do, and it's quite exciting. But before we do that, I'm going to provide you quickly with a list of planetary importance. So the sun, moon, and ascendant, these are the three most important things in your natal chart. And then we've got the inner planets, okay, like Venus, Mercury, Mars, and Jupiter. These are also very important, and they're kind of going in order of importance. For the next task, when it comes to Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and the North Node, it's a little less important. So what we're going to do now, I would like you to find a natal chart of somebody that you think could be a potential soulmate. Maybe it's somebody that you're dating, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be a celebrity. But you need to have their natal chart in front of you, along with the list that you've just recently made. So, alright, so I will do an example for you. So I'm going to have a look at my husband's natal chart, Mr. John Mayer. He's got style. Come on, guys, you gotta admit. All right, so I'm gonna see if John Mayer is a potential soulmate. Can he really teach me a lot of things about myself and my life or not? So you're gonna go back to the list, and you're gonna have a look at the first thing, okay? Which, you know, for example, here we've got Gemini. So now I'm going to go and see John Mayer's natal chart. Does he have planets in Gemini? He does not. Does he have planets in the third house? Ooh, he he's got his moon in the 3rd house, conjunct Neptune. So I'm gonna kind of give it a tick over there, or a star, or a heart. And then after that, we're gonna see his Mercury and how important is the planet Mercury in his natal chart. So when we're trying to see the importance of a planet, we're seeing if it is going to be in the angles of the natal chart. So is it in the 1st house or conjunct the ascendant, or maybe in the 12th house but conjunct the ascendant, or is it in the 4th house or the 3rd house but it's conjunct the IC, or is it in the 7th house, or is it conjunct the descendant? Sometimes it can be the 6th conjunct the ascendant, or is it in the 10th house conjunct the midheaven, or sometimes it can be the 9th conjunct the midheaven. All right, so where is John Mayer's Mercury? Oh, he's got his Mercury in the 1st house, conjunct his North Node. Oh, he's quite a mercurial personality, so I'm gonna give it a tick there. All right, so if you look at the 12th house, does he have planets in the 12th house? He's got his Venus in the 12th house. Woo, okay, tick. Does he have planets in Pisces? No, he does not. Does he have, okay, how important is his Neptune and Jupiter? So his Neptune is in the 3rd house, it's conjunct his moon. It's could be quite important, but for the purpose of this tutorial today, we're just looking at the angles. It's Jupiter. All right, so Jupiter is in his 10th house, conjunct his midheaven. So that means Jupiter is very important in his life. So tick. So next we're going to be looking at Sagittarius. So does he have planets in Sagittarius? Oh, he's got his moon in Sagittarius. Awesome. Tick. 9th house. No planets in the 9th house. Jupiter. So we've already done that. Jupiter's conjunct the midheaven. So we're going to tick. So, okay, so you're going to keep doing this until you've gotten to the end of the list. And then you have a bunch of ticks or stars. So what you're kind of looking at here is, you can kind of maybe count if you want to see how many ticks you've got with this person, to see how, at what level they'll be able to, you know, help you to grow. You can also kind of see what's missing. So if I look at John Mayer, he's, you know, doesn't have anything in Aquarius, 11th house. He's got Saturn in the 11th house. It's kind of a limiting planet. It's not that important. Here in this tutorial, Uranus, not important place. 2nd house, yeah. So now you can kind of see that John Mayer's not really going to be able to help me grow in terms of the Aquarian, you know, side that I need to grow, but he'll be able to help me grow in other areas of myself. If you try to do it with different people, okay, you can kind of see how different people help you grow in different areas of your life and how they don't help you grow in other areas of your life. It's really quite fascinating when you try to do this, all right? So now remember, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this, however, does not signify compatibility, attraction, or, you know, being able to sustain a partnership. It is just the traits of a person that can help you grow. So I really hope you guys enjoyed doing this and had a little bit of fun just working with this tutorial. If you like it, then, you know, let me know if you would like to see more, and what kind of tutorials would you like to see, because there's so much that you can find out in your natal chart. You know, would you like to see a tutorial on how to find your maybe purpose, life purpose or calling, or how to find your sexual, you know, nature, or maybe how to find your hidden talents, something like that. You know, let me know in the comments below what else you'd like to see. And also, guys, you know, leave in the comments below what your soulmate smoothie turned out to be like. What are the traits of people who can really help to, you know, help you to grow in your soul? Because, you know, a lot of you have really been commenting on some of my videos, and I've really kind of gotten to know you guys. And, you know, I'm so interested to see what does this tutorial tell you about the kind of people that will help you grow. Leave a comment below, guys. I would love to know. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, then please click the red subscribe button below to join our little astrology family that we've got going here. And if you've already subscribed, then thank you very much for coming along on these astrology growth journeys. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you soon in the next video. Bye.